Hi, welcome back to the show. Well, there's a lot of news flow that's coming in as we speak, and one of the stocks that could be in focus is VA Tech Vabag. The company has just won a 594 crore order. This is a water reclamation plant order from Chennai. So that stock will be in focus on the upside. I'm just waiting for the press release to open up. But the Vabag consortium has won that order worth about 594 crores for water reclamation in Chennai. So this will be for construction, operation and maintenance of a 45 MLD tertiary treatment plant at Coimbatore in Chennai. So that stock, it's been down quite a bit actually in the last 1 month. It's lost 25% of its value, but this was one of the big wealth generators in the past 2 years. So, Prakash Diwan is also with us, and we have 10 more minutes before pre-opening. Prakash, I know you track this stock closely. It has come off its highs quite a bit, but what do investors do here on?
No, I think it's a good opportunity to dip in, because one of the reasons why the stock lost out on this ground was, it was looking at, it sits on a significant amount of cash, almost 780 crores of cash, and they haven't been able to acquire anything and grow very rapidly and organically, which they have been stating and sharing with the street. So there was a disappointment on that count, because the cash doesn't generate as much returns as the business does, and they need to get out of this thing about all the time being in Chennai. They've been too focused on Chennai. They need to expand their geographical base and start focusing on the maintenance contract. In these contracts, when you remember, 10 years of maintenance is gravy. You continue to get annuity kind of income, and that's what people like about the stock potentially. So it's a wonderful story. It just has had some sort of disappointment, but I'm sure given the kind of focus on cleanliness and all this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and water itself becoming a scarce commodity, you'll see this stock in the positive side of the news flow. So people should definitely buy in.
Okay. Well, the other big news, of course, is the new launch coming in from Maruti today. Actually, Sonia, why don't you tell me how much you are looking forward to this one, the compact SUV coming in?
Oh, this is big news for Maruti, because for the first time, they will be entering into the compact SUV segment. That is the sub 4 meter SUV, and this market is big. For the last 2 years, I mean, the early entrants were, the Ford EcoSport, etc., the Renault Duster, which did exceptionally well. Now we have a whole host of new ones. The Mahindra TUV is also in that segment, but they'll be launching it today, and I'll be watching out for the price point very closely, because this is for the urban young corporate goer who can't afford perhaps a more than a 12 lakh or more than 13 lakh car. So the range for this car, the lower end is expected to be 6.7 lakhs. Of course, that will be on road, it could be about 7.5, and the upper range would be 10 lakhs. But Prakash Diwan, come in on this. How much do you think Maruti could cannibalize or kill this segment if it comes through with good pricing?
No, I think this is a make or break for the company. As you said very clearly, they are a late entrant in this segment. Renault Duster was one of the pioneers. They created this segment out of nowhere, and you saw this huge surge in sales for them. Then Ford came in, stepped in. A lot of other people have tried. Why it's important for Maruti to look at this seriously is because one is the distribution network is very well poised towards addressing the consumer needs in the urban markets. The Nexa showroom has to start sweating. They put in a lot of money there.
But it's not going to be launched from the Nexa showroom. It's going to be launched from the regular dealerships.
But then the kind of walk-ins that they create at Nexa, that means that it has to be sub 10 lakhs for sure, or even on the higher side. But if they price it at what you mentioned, it could take completely the market by storm. Because remember, why SUVs, these compact SUVs are getting preferred is you have better ground clearance for the kind of roads that we have. You have more seating capacity along with baggage handling space. At the same time, you have fuel efficiency, which doesn't compromise on the power that you get. So it's got a combination of whatever any young urban consumer would look at. I think the designing, the styling, which is completely, by the way, indigenous this time. Maruti has worked on this product right here. There's no Suzuki intervention, and that's why they're very proud of the fact, and I'm sure they'll make it a success. I'm very keenly looking forward to it, not just as a consumer, but also as an investor, because this could actually give that spark to Maruti on the stock.
For a couple of reasons, I'm not able to pay attention, because the news that's coming in is extremely important, that the cabinet is going to consider amendments to the MMDR Act, the Mining and Mineral Development Act, to allow the transfer of mining leases as well along with captive mines. You know, a lot of cement plant sales were stuck because limestone mines couldn't go. The law said that you can only get mines in an auction. But now, if the amendment goes through, that mining leases attached to captive mines can also be sold, then you know, probably there will be more M&As, especially in the cement space, but yes, also in the steel space. Not that anyone is looking to buy steel at this point in time, but for cement, since there is a lot of M&A activity, I would assume this is very important.
Oh yes, so that makes so many new eligible people on the list of wannabe sellers, because you know that's and of course takers also. And I'm sure you could watch out for ACC, because that's a stock that could perk up on this count, because they've been wanting to expand, but all the time the contention was that we want to increase our mining capacity as well. So this is definitely positive news. I don't know how much of this has an impact on the iron ore side also, because some of these companies which are struggling, like Sharda Energy, Godavari, they also have some of these captive mines, so there could be some potential M&A in the steel sector as well.
Okay, well, we have 5 more minutes to go. Siddarth Bhamre has also been waiting by patiently, so let's go across to him. Siddarth, 6.5% run on the markets last week on the upside. What's the expectation for this week, and how are you positioned in trade?
Good morning, Sonia. I think it's no-brainer that the momentum would, slow down the kind of rally we saw last week. What we have observed that, FIs have bought in index futures more than 3,000 crores, in cash market more than 3,000 crores. But at the same time, they have bought huge amount of put options, which amounts to more than 8,000 crores. And we have seen that put call ratio after multi-months have gone above or is at a level of 1. Otherwise, it was trading at 0.8, which clearly suggests that people are doing call writing. What we are suggesting at this point of time is that still there are no indications that you should go short in this market. But if you have been riding on long positions in index, we have been suggesting going long Bank Nifty and other index as well. So we would suggest to book profits on those index and now get more stock specific. And this time you will have not just buy ideas, but you will have sell ideas as well, because some of these stocks have gone up mainly because of short covering, and we haven't seen any formation of long positions. So index per se still not generating any short calls. Momentum is dying down. Stock specific to be in this week. That's what our suggestion would be, Sonia.
Okay, so would you sell any specific stock then, Siddarth, if not the index?
Yeah, I was mentioning, Infosys is one counter which I would like to short at current levels. The reason being the entire run up from 1100 odd levels to current levels of 1170, 1180. Stock is trading around 8, 9, 10 rupees discount to the spot price. Futures is trading at discount. My advice would be that one should short at current levels. Reason being, it's purely because of short covering. Infosys has gone up. We haven't seen any formation of long positions. I'm not expecting a huge correction, but at least a retracement which would bring it back to 1100, 1108 odd levels. Fix the stop loss somewhere around 1204, 1180 to 1220. This is very strong resistance zone for Infosys. So this would be a prime candidate for shorting for me in this week.
All right, Siddarth, hold on to that thought. We have some more details coming in from that exclusive file that the MMDR Act may be amended and cabinet approval is being sought for the amendments. Anshu Sharma, who filed that story, is with us on the phone. Anshu, what did you pick up? Okay, I don't think Anshu can hear us just yet. Anshu, can you hear me? Well, I think we should go into a break. When we are back, maybe we'll be better able to connect with Anshu Sharma. We will have the pre-opening rates as well. Okay, welcome back. I think we have established our connection with Anshu Sharma. Anshu, what kind of amendments to the MMDR Act are you expecting?
That's right. Mines and Mineral Development Regulation Amendment was pushed by the Mines Ministry in the month of January, seeking comments. This MMDR amendment is with regards to insertion of provision for allowing transfer of captive mining leases granted through other than auction route. In 2015 January, when MMDR was amended by the new government, the proposal was to allow transfer of mining leases only for auction mines. So this will pave way for all the mergers and acquisition in the space of cement and other than that. So this is being taken by the government in its cabinet meeting this week. Back to you.
All right, Anshu, thanks so much for that. So that's a big positive development if it comes through for a lot of M&A activity. But let's get back to talking about some other stocks. There are about, just less than 10 seconds to go before we get the pre-opening rates to hit you on the screen. Remember last week we had a very, very strong run for the market, 6.5% higher. And we had a lot of individual stocks that did well, especially from the banking space. So let's take a look at what the opening tick is this week, the pre-opening that is. About 0.5% higher in pre-openings. We have been, just on the throes of that 7,500 mark. So there we are, 7,500 on the Nifty and the Sensex as well in the green. But you could expect some consolidation, as a lot of our experts have been telling us, purely because one, Asia is under pressure, and two, we've been running really hard. That's the opening on the rupee level.
Yeah, but it's actually, the opening of the rupee is a little weaker. It was almost threatening to go below 67. The rupee was rising in one fell swoop. Now there is a bit of resistance to the rupee, but I don't think that's much of a worry. The bigger issue really will be the way the stock markets are dilly-dallying. You saw actually a couple of red ticks as well on the Nifty, so maybe we want to just bide our time and not be too sure. The index clearly looks like it has it's not made up its mind on whether it will open in the red or the green at this point in time. So dollar has gotten a little expensive, about 14 pies more expensive. We closed at 67.5 or 7 thereabouts. So dollar is a little expensive. Not to worry at all about that, because the rally in the rupee was too ferocious. But on the stock markets, it is still very, very iffy. Now both the indices are pointing out to some kind of a flat opening. Coal India clearly is the winner. Of that there is no doubt at all, because the markets had discounted probably a 22 rupee dividend. The fact that the dividend has come at 27.5 rupees clearly meant that the cash market, the cash rates will move up a bit. So that's 3.5% uptick on Coal India, and then the commodity stocks are all up as well. ONGC is up, Reliance is up. That's the strength in crude prices that we saw over the last 3-4 days that is getting factored in. But I think beyond that, let's just bide our time. It's a little difficult to call anything about the market. It's still very, very early days. I mean, Bank of Baroda is down 10%. I expected this kind of a knee-jerk reaction. The government thought about consolidation. What will they consolidate? They will make the big banks, the good banks, buy the weak banks. So this kind of negativity would have come, and it was very important for officials to come and clarify that that is not what the government contemplated. They are going to have an expert committee, and the expert committee will be told very clearly that the big banks should not be saddled with the weak banks. I don't think the government will be so stupid to ask just one or two banks in the public sector space which are pushing their head above water to come and take the weak banks and muddy their already heavy balance sheets. I don't think they will do that, but it is natural for the market to take this news negatively as far as BOB is concerned. I expect the management will come and clarify, but at the moment this was waiting to happen. If managements don't talk, if the government doesn't clarify, this kind of negativity on the stocks was bound to happen. But let's wait and see. This is just a pre-opening bid.
Oh yes, a couple of other stocks that could be in focus this morning. One of them is Viatech Vabag on the back of the 594 crore order that they won. So that stock is up about 4.5% right now and seeing a big recovery as well. The other one is Mindtree. That one is under pressure this morning, down about 2% as the company has said that they've seen a delay in commencement of a few projects, and that could lead to hardly any dollar revenue growth in Q4 and a drop in their margins as well. So Mindtree is seeing that adjustment. Siemens will be selling its healthcare business for 3,050 crores, and that healthcare business was margin dilutive. So good riddance to that, and the stock is actually reacting on the upside, up about 1%. And Mphasis is one stock that you should keep on your radar. Over the weekend, there were plenty of reports suggesting that Tech Mahindra now is in the race to buy Mphasis. So those stocks are, getting louder. That's one stock that is up in the news. Prakash, you've been tracking this story closely. For an Mphasis shareholder, for someone who perhaps wants to capitalize on this news, is it good to go at 430?
I think so. So this is just the beginning of what I would believe would be a fairly well-fought battle of sorts, because there are lots of suitors were looking at this piece. It's an assured business of sorts which nobody really wants to let go very easily. Tech Mahindra will benefit definitely because it helps it diversify into the financial services space, which it is not very strong in, and go beyond that telecom dependence. The employees themselves have also started looking at an order, and of course there are some very large PE funds. And most of the times you see positive news flow from the American PE funds being more favored in terms of the acquisition. So I'm sure it's going to be a contest which could probably take the stock all the way to about 460, 470 very soon, given the kind of low floating stock it has.
Okay, so that's Mphasis and Tech Mahindra, which is higher in pre-opening rates. Tech Mahindra is kind of the proven talent in turnaround of poorly run IT companies or troubled IT companies. I mean, their victory over Satyam is such a certificate of their ability to absorb an impacted company or a troubled company that Tech Mahindra is actually getting. Usually when you're taking over a company like this, you don't get such a thumbs up, but Tech Mahindra's talent in that space is so proven that both the acquirer and the likely target candidate are both getting a thumbs up from the market. Rarely ever does this happen, but in this case I guess it's something that merits a thumbs up from the stock market. Mindtree, the Mindtree share should also come up for you. That is the one that will be much under pressure after the management trimmed its earlier guidance. Prakash, you wanted to add on this?
Yeah, but while that's a fact that they've warned of a slowdown in the quarter-on-quarter earnings growth in dollar terms, but they still maintain that they'll beat FY16 NASSCOM estimates. They'll exceed even in FY17. Of course, NASSCOM estimates are not some very tall order at this point, but that should give comfort that probably it could be a one-off quarter, and they will kind of move back. Their particular space that they are into, the PES as it's called, it's fairly complex and it has a huge entry barrier, so it's not easy for others to get in. I think Mindtree could probably be a good opportunity if it loses a little bit of ground on this sentimental impact.
What about, in fact, I wanted to get some of our technical guests in on some of the metal names that have been rallying, because remember, globally iron ore prices have seen a big bump up and NMDC is reacting to that. NMDC is up about 3.5%. Ashwini, come in on the metal space. Last week we had some phenomenal moves coming in from some of the metal stocks. So Vedanta was up 22%, Tata Steel was up 16%. Do you expect an encore this week? And if yes, what would be your top 1 or 2 metal buys now?
See, metals have outperformed in this rally, and probably they started rallying even before the market started. So chances are that you'll see another 10 to 15% in all of these metal stocks. Probably Tata Steel, JSW Steel are the best of the lot, but even something like NMDC can probably easily get up to 100, 105. So my bet is the pure metal stocks instead of getting into NMDC type of commodity plays. But like Ken, I've been saying that it's getting ready for a large rally. Similarly, all of these commodity stocks have much more upside to go.
Okay. Any of the banks you want to trade on? Bank of Baroda has started pretty negatively. It's only a bid now, but it's down 3% with probably brokers fearing that consolidation will mean this one good bank could be saddled with something weak. Ashwini, any chart checks on that stock?
See, BOB even earlier went through corrections, and I think the trend has turned. Yes, these statements will create buying opportunities, but I think finally 165, 170 should come in on Bank of Baroda. Similarly, all the other PSU banks, maybe even State Bank, you should use these sort of dips to buy and probably there will be clarifications, etc. But I would see how the market reacts to this dip. If it's bought, then that means clearly there is strength in PSU banks.
Okay, well, there is also that impact on Bank of Baroda on account of the CBI raid that took place, where the CBI has found 40 lakhs in cash and many pen drives, PAN cards, etc. that are illegal. So that raid has taken place on Bank of Baroda. Rubber stamps of 44 firms during the raid on 10 businessmen and firms as part of its probe into Bank of Baroda's illegal forex remittances scam. So I guess there is that bit of reaction as well that you're seeing on Bank of Baroda this morning. But let's do one thing. Let's also get a couple of more trading ideas. We have 5 minutes to go and we have a truncated week, but we've started the new week nevertheless. On Bullseye this week, Manish Sharma, Krish Subramaniam and Sarvendra Srivastava are battling it out for the strongest portfolio. So let's listen in first to what they've picked out for today.
My first call is sell call in Petronet at the rate 245, place a stop loss at 251 and look for the target from 237. Important trend line support broken below 247 odd levels. My second call is sell call in Jubilant Food at the rate 1150, place a stop loss at 1180 and look for the target from 1100. Fresh short build up seen in this counter. My third call is sell call in Bata India at the rate 490, place a stop loss at 510 and look for the target from 450. Double top formation on the weekly charts. My last call is buy call in Union Bank at the rate 125, place a stop loss at 120 and look for the target from 132 as the stock has managed to cross 100 DMA with very strong volumes.
My first recommendation is a buy on Griff Finance for a target price of 243 and stop loss of 232. Second recommendation is a buy on Lloyd Electric for a target price of 215, stop loss of 204. Third recommendation again is another consumer appliances company, Havells India, which could be bought for a target price of 290 and a stop loss of 277. Last recommendation is a sell on Motherson Sumi for a target price of 232 and a stop loss of 246.
Our first call for the day is a buy on UPL for a target of 458.40 with a stop loss kept at 433.40. The next one is again a buy on Union Bank for a target of 129.80 with a stop loss kept at 122.40. The next two calls are on the sell side. First one being a sell on Marico for a target of 231 and a stop loss at 242.20. And the last one is a sell on Eicher Motors for a target of 18,761 with a stop loss kept at 19566.
Okay, that's some more ideas to work with. There were some developments also in the CBI's investigation of those foreign remittance from one branch in Bank of Baroda in Delhi. So perhaps that's also troubling the stock. But the PAN cards and the 40 lakh cash that was found in several private persons' places was not linked to Bank of Baroda itself. The entire scam is linked to originated from some of the branches of Bank of Baroda. That was a CBI investigation, but there was no details from the CBI spokesperson as to where were the new evidence found. The CBI spokesperson was quoted as saying in the newspapers it was found during the investigation that around 8,500 foreign remittance transactions were made from 59 bank accounts from various companies and firms against import of goods and software from Hong Kong and Dubai. That was about all. The investigation revealed involvement of 11 private persons, but it didn't say which were the banks involved. So, Bank of Baroda, I think the knock that came on Bank of Baroda was not related to the scam as much as to the fear that if there is consolidation, is Bank of Baroda in danger? That's my sense. We don't know what makes the market afraid. We only know that the market is afraid today of buying Bank of Baroda, and there is some bit of profit taking in that stock. To be fair, it saw a goodish amount of gain as well. So that's the way things are stacking up as we move into the opening. Just about 1.5 minutes for the markets to open. Ashwini, if it does open flat as flat can get at 7485, what will you wait for before you put in a nifty trade?
See, basically we are opening around Friday's close, which in itself is a fairly decent support. So you should use this decline to get long. If not on futures, I would think buying a 7500 call because at some point during the day you should expect some rally, although the market will remain choppy, but the early morning trade should be to buy a 7500 call.
Okay. We have a minute to go. Prakash Diwan, one final call from your end. Any 2 or 3 stocks that you're recommending investors to buy now?
No, so one of the stocks that's suddenly turned very interesting from a pre-budget pick as well is Eveready Industries. We've always liked the fact that this is one of the key beneficiaries of the rural spend, the price points that it operates on, you know, the fact that they're getting into LED in a big, they already have got into, now they've announced the fact that they're getting into low price consumer goods like irons, food processors, juicers, mixers, toasters, you know, a host of things. The idea is whatever can be sold in a carton, you know, is what they want to get into, so they can, it can be displayed on the same shop as where the batteries and torches are. And if that happens, you know, it changes the profile of the company dramatically. So we look at that stock, and I'm sure it'll probably, you know, be a re-rated one.
Okay, well, they also came on the channel and spoke about tea packages that they will sell from, of course, the group company. Thank you very much, Prakash and Prakash, for staying with us through the pre-opening rate period. We have about a second to go, and we should get the opening rates. It's as flat can get. In fact, opening has turned marginally green now. 0.1 up on the Sensex and the Nifty. Mid-caps a tad better. It's Bank Nifty which is taking it on the chin, and Bank of Baroda is pulling it down. That's not a big heavyweight in the Bank Nifty itself. Both SBI and BOB are down. The consolidation fears have not helped. In fact, ICICI Bank, PNB, other banking stocks are also down. So perhaps you should not visit it only on the consolidation issue. There is a general profit taking on banking stocks in general, and now the losses have expanded to 0.9. The Bank Nifty is down almost 1%. So while the rest of the market is in the green, there are some severe losses coming in from the Bank Nifty. Bank of Baroda down 2.32% now. Okay, now the losses are receding. SBI down 1.8, ICICI down 1.5, PNB down 0.9, Kotak Mahindra 1% down. What else? HDFC Bank down about 0.5%. So a lot of the banking stocks are down, and Bank of Baroda leads with a 2.2% downtick. But the rest of the market largely in the green, especially the metal stocks and the commodity stocks, Cain, Vedanta, Hindalco, ONGC and Coal India, of course, because of the dividend. So commodities up, banks down. That's the story. Anuj, a quick comment. We have the Bank of Baroda Managing Director joining us. So a quick comment from you before we go to him.
Yeah, the start is actually positive considering the kind of Asian markets that we've had, Lata. The Bank Nifty is dragging, and still the market is in the green, so it tells you that it's positive. Metals are doing well, so the global risk on is on. But I think for me the key is the zone 7500 to 7550. The risk reward may not favor you to take a long position in this zone. Maybe you want to wait for this zone to be over and then take a call, but respect this. Yeah.
Okay, well, Mr. Jayakumar is with us. Mr. Jayakumar, the stock has taken a 2% downtick. I guess one of the big fears is that if consolidation is the mood going forward, your bank, being one of the few strong banks, will have to be taking over a weak bank. Was that the message from the Gyan Sangam?
No, quite the contrary. The objective of the consolidation is to build world-class banks. It is not intended to diminish anybody. It's also, I think, a reasonably democratic process. Smaller banks have the choice not to be part of any merger, but choose to become specialized institutions. So I don't think that the way it's to be viewed negatively. And the real objective is to build large, sizable institutions, you know, that have diversified portfolio, etc., etc. So on the balance, I think it should be treated positively than negatively.
Okay. Mr. Jayakumar, morning. You know, the other disappointment perhaps is that from the Gyan Sangam, there were no major takeaways as far as the solution to stressed assets is concerned, the asset reconstruction companies, etc. That's what we understand. But what have you taken away from the Gyan Sangam? Has there been any talk or solution on what should be done with stressed assets?
I think the coverage in the media with respect to Gyan Sangam has been fairly comprehensive. Now, specific to the issue of stress asset, I think the message has been that banks will be very focused on recovery, and there has been a discussion around to strengthening a number of legal processes around DRT, around the new expected bankruptcy code, etc. So specifics apart, you know, the overall direction is that banks will be very focused on recovery. and there is going to be a bunch of support available from the government, particularly in the legislative, in really the administration of the legal process. So that's where it is. Is there anything?
Yeah, Mr. Ekman, there is a niggling worry over the weekend. The CBI put out some statements saying that they have made additional searches with respect to that fraudulent foreign remittance transactions which they were investigating, and that fraud, if you remember, originated from some of the Bank of Baroda branches in Delhi. Were you contacted? Is there any update you can give us on the impact of this investigation on the bank?
Let me put it this way. As far as I know, there has been no raid on the bank or any connection with our employees. I'll recheck that, but not to my knowledge. So if there is something the CBI is saying they found, then I think the source is the CBI and we have to check with them. We're also reaching across and trying to ascertain, and we shall soon come with a clarification on this matter. But to my knowledge, this is a part of the continuing investigation, some information being available, and these may or may not relate to Bank of Baroda itself.
No, they haven't said it relates to you. They have only said that they have investigated some private parties without mentioning any names at all. So, hence the need to check with you.
It is too broad-based to comment on. You know, there is some investigation. Some people have been found with something.
Okay.
You know, how does it connect to Bank of Baroda? Where does it? How does it involve? We don't know. Okay. There's nothing specific to comment upon. But nonetheless, we'll go through the details and come back to you with some comments as we go through the day.
How quickly will ESOPs be given? That was one of the things that the Gyan Sangam spoke about.
I think, I don't know, I can't tell you the exact time frame because that's a policy decision, but on the balance, it seems to me that they are quite keen and getting this through and addressing the gap in long-term compensation plan for senior executives in the banking system, in the public sector banking system.
All right, Mr. Jaikumar, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the mid-cap space because there are plenty of stocks moving around, and the space to really be in is metals. NMDC and SAIL are both up about 7 to 8% because of iron ore prices and steel prices rising globally. So that's one space that traders are making the most of this morning. The other stock to look at is Welspun Enterprises. That stock is up 10% after signing a concession agreement with NHAI. So it's picking up in terms of volumes as well. Elecon Engineering is up about 5% on the back of receiving an order win worth about 225 odd crores. So Elecon Engineering is in the green. VATech Vabag is up almost 4 odd % on the back of that order win as well. That's another stock to look at. You have Mindtree that's under pressure on the back of the dollar revenue growth being marginal because of delay in commencement of a few projects. So Mindtree is down half odd %, and Zeman is reacting positively to the fact that it will be selling its healthcare business. But the bank nifty is now. Go ahead, Naveen.
Yeah, you need to keep an eye on Just Dial, Sonia. I just wanted to point that out. Since you were referring to mid caps, Just Dial is now down 8%. You remember, I spoke about this in the morning. That on Friday it traded over 1 crore shares, and the delivery volume was only 6%. So you got a sense that on Friday what you had was a bit of a topping out of Just Dial, and the way that stock had very measly delivery volumes. That was a worry as far as individual mid caps were concerned, especially the names like Just Dial.
Okay, let's get to our experts. Anuj, Ashwini, the bank nifty tanked rather precipitously, went all the way down to 15,200, now holding 15,212. Your take?
See, bank nifty is looking the weaker of the two indices, so if you have to get long, probably Nifty is the better one. But I think bank nifty, if we get closer to 15,000, you'll at least get a decent bounce from there. So maybe through the week, if you get to those levels, then you have a trade. For the day, probably bank nifty is a little avoidable.
Bank of Baroda itself, it very distinctly showed higher highs and higher lows, probably since 10th of February or thereabouts. For almost a month, it's been showing that vertical up move. Is this a time to stay long, book your long, unwind the longs, take profit?
See, I think if you have the holding ability, you should hold on, because these things will happen back and forth, one day one thing is said, the next day it's taken back. But overall the technical position, PSU banks, all the longs have been cleaned out, and now for a while they will have positive news and hence will respond to that. So I don't think this dip will be a turning point. But basically, it will be opportunity to buy. Soon you will have clarification, etc., and Bank of Baroda will again probably hit fresh intermediate highs. So this sort of decline, in case somebody wanted to buy, I think needs to be bought into.
Okay, well, a couple of more stocks that are going to be up for you on your screen. One of them is Everready. As Prakash was telling us, over the weekend, the company announced that they will be expanding their product portfolio from batteries and LED flashlights into launching home appliance products. So you will get Everready ceiling fans, Everready coffee makers, irons, food processors, and that will be a huge market for them if they're expanding into that segment. So that stock is up about 2.5%. But Rajat, I just wanted to come to you on stocks that have been big gainers today. Traders are having a field day there with names like NMDC, Tata, SAIL, etc. What would your top pick of the pack be?
I would prefer the base metals. I mean, base metal producers like Hindalco, and my stop would be there. One and 83.80 to about 84.50 could be the two targets to watch out for. Hindalco has actually crossed a medium-term moving average, and at least in my studies that's a critical one. That is 89-day moving average, just above 80, and it is maintaining above that with a lot of strength. So Hindalco probably would be headed higher. And similarly, Vedanta looks pretty good. My feeling is that Vedanta, if you put a stop loss at 90.45, unlikely to get hit there. On the other hand, 92.25 to about 93.50 would be eminently achievable target for the day, and so these two I would like to recommend. I do not want to recommend as a day trade.
Okay, actually same question to you, Ashwini. In fact, in the top 10 high rises, 6 of them are metal stocks: NMDC, SAIL, Vedanta, Hindalco, JSPL, Tata Steel. That's the 6 stocks in the top 10. Ashwini, any trade?
See, CAN looks extremely good because it's consolidated in this 120, 135 type of zone, and also it appears crude may have more upside. So both CAN, Vedanta, as well as Tata Steel can be looked at, because for whatever it's worth, maybe short positions, etc., I think commodity prices are looking for an intermediate upside.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ashwini and Rajat. For the moment, of course, we will keep coming back to you for more advice. But for the moment, it is holding up the market in the green, and it's the banking stocks that are holding down. That the index itself is down about 0.8%. But as we speak about metals and banks, it's also International Women's Day, and therefore let's celebrate by calling people women who have made it to the top despite severe reverses that